over a longer period, geological time scale, also sea level has been rising and falling in during glacial period, interglacial period and the present day period and all. But what we have been observing the last 100 years or rather post industrial period is that the rate at which sea level has been risen has been much higher than those earlier geological time scale periods. So, now the last century, if you see, that is the 20th century, sea level rise has been about slightly less than 2 millimeter per year, which is also consistent with our own analysis that NIO carried out for all the tide gauges in the North Indian Ocean, including many countries in the rim of the Indian Ocean. So, these results are also consistent with the global estimates other places. So, this is basically because it is a global phenomena. Sea level has been rising due to global warming, thermal expansion in the ocean, as well as mainly from the glacier melt. Actually, it is a gradual rise, say slow and gradual rise, but the impact could be in some regions, the impact could be higher, though it is a global phenomena. Say for example, the regions which are low lying, then regions where already the land subsidence is occurring, for example, in the Indo-Gangetic delta. So, many of the Asian deltas are undergoing subsidence. So, that also amounts to land sinking, amounts to also sea level rising. So, again there are regions like Indo-Gangetic delta, there are many storm surges due to cyclones passing. So, when these extreme events occur, there will be large surges along with the tides, and then the sea level rise, the impact could be very higher. But as such, the impact may not be that high in all over the globe. So, there are regions where, and there is concern about the small islands, where if it is especially low lying, what will happen? It is a question of adaptation to the changed scenario. So, mostly at this point I would say that if there is a infrastructure development very near the coast or inside an estuary or river or something. So, this infrastructure which if it lasts for 100 years, 200 years and all, so then the sea level rise has to be accounted. So, already in very developed countries people have started accounting for that, for this kind of infrastructure. So, this is not a time for panic, but we are asked to see that in long run what will be the thing actually in mind. That may not cascade, but again the east coast, whole east coast compared to west coast, it is low lying, that is the land topography. If you have noticed in the past, for example, is Nagapattinam typical. Nagapattinam is always will be in the news whenever tsunami is there or storm surge is there. The reason is that there the land topography is very gentle. So, whatever wave comes from the ocean, it hits the thing. Yeah. Yeah. No, not really due to the sea level rise. Okay. There are, because of ocean warming, there are other processes that could influence the other thing. For example, sea surface temperature is increasing. Okay. So, that can affect the evaporation on the ocean. So, which will again lead to all these ocean atmospheric interaction processes and changes and all. Yes, actually what in the if you see the, for example, the last year's 2013 IPCC report, that there is a chapter on sea level. There you can get more information on that. Actually, there what we have done is that there is you have an observed sea level, or globally average over the globe how much sea level has changed, and then you can compute the change in the thermal expansion, how much thermal expansion has contributed, how much glaciers have contributed. Then there are also other components like changes in land water storage, because the land water from here it goes to the ocean. No? That land water is changing, storage has changed. So, if you add all these processes, then you get a kind of sea level budget, whether you get close to the observed sea level. So, that is earlier there were more gaps few years ago when people were trying to compare the observed sea level with the different components. But now with the increase in observational network, for example, in ocean we have now Argo floats which give periodic information on the ocean temperature in many points, continuous measurements with which we can measure the ocean thermal expansion. Then the GRACE satellite which is giving information on the glacier melt. Okay. That is these things have started only in the recent years, last maybe I would say GRACE satellite started in 2004 and Argo float started also in last 1.5 to 2 decades period. So, this has now given more strengthened our knowledge on the various components. So, when you add it is close to the observed sea level.